Hi,
Hi.
Anna.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I've never done this before, so
All right. Well,
okay.
I've only done it. This is like my fourth time, so I'm
Okay.
learning every time. Um, First off, to everyone that's watching, I just want to let you know today our interview is with Hannah Tapp. She is one of the middles on our
Yeah.
U.S. national team. She's got a lot of accolades behind her. She helped the Minnesota volleyball team go to consecutive semifinals. She was voted one of the best blocker at Pan Am in 2019, an AVCA All-American, and also plays pro in Germany, right?
I played pro in Germany for half a season,
Okay.
and then I've played pro in Italy for 2 years, and last year I played in Japan.
Awesome. All right. So to get started, I want you to just share with us your volleyball story. So from when you started playing till right now.
Okay. So I started playing when I was younger with I have a twin sister, and so we played basketball. We ran track together, did all sports growing up, and so I started playing with her and just my high school. I didn't do club. We both of us didn't do club until we were 17, and
Oh,
so
wow.
that's kind of a late start. But we're from a small town, and so there we had like a JL club for our town, but we just played in local tournaments pretty much. And so when we finally decided to play club, like official club, we had to drive up to Northern Lights in Minneapolis. So it was about an hour and a half drive, but it was definitely worth it. Made some of my best friends that I still have today. So played club for 2 years. We won my first year, our seventh, Paige and I, when we joined the 17s team at Northern Lights, we won the JO National Championship, which was really cool.
Yes. I remember
And
that.
we were very fortunate. I know that doesn't happen a lot. And so for us to just join this great team and win that was awesome. And then went to Minnesota. Like you said, we went to two Final Fours, which was awesome. Huge learning curve there from when I first got there to when um, we actually made those Final Fours. And then I went on to play pro. And that's where I am today. And this is my fourth summer, will be my fourth summer in the national team gym. And unfortunately, the Olympics got postponed a year, but just another year to train.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. I think that's great, especially for our younger followers to see that you started club later, which some parents always ask me, like I coach 14s and they always ask me, did we start too late? Eighth grade, ninth grade, did we start too late? And I think that's
Right.
great for especially multi-sport athletes to realize
Yeah.
that it's
I know
not
I've
too late.
definitely played with girls at the top that started when they were 12. And there's definitely been girls that have started way later. I think, yeah, a couple girls I know started when they were like sophomores in high school. So it doesn't matter where you start as long as you've got a will to learn and get better. So,
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to go through a few questions from some of our coaches and some of our players. And let's see, we'll start off here. Harper Murray wants to know, how was your experience at Minnesota and what was it like playing under Hugh?
it was awesome. I think that was one of the best decisions of my life to go to Minnesota. Um, I was very underdeveloped when I went to college. So I was just a string bean. I didn't have very much muscle on me at all. Um, my technique and skills were very unrefined, a lot to do with playing multiple sports growing up. So I was athletic, but I definitely didn't have the technique and skills that would be needed to be successful at the collegiate or even higher in the national team level. So I needed someone like you to take me under his wing and teach me how to play. So I think great players get recognized a lot, but behind them is a lot of great coaches and a lot of patience. So some people are really coachable, and I'd like to think I was a coachable player, but I'm sure I was a little bit tough at times. And Hugh definitely played a pivotal role in my development, and he always believed in me, always trusted me, and he taught me how to do things the right way. So I owe a lot to Hugh, and my 4 years at Minnesota definitely was the best choice I could have ever made as a volleyball player, where I was at and where I wanted to go. I know there's a lot of different programs that do things different ways. And
Right.
so if you're a pretty developed player, maybe you don't need that kind of training and learning. Like every day we'd break it down into the skills and to the steps, and we would just ingrain it in our brains how to do it the right way, so we basically had to relearn how to do every skill that we thought we knew how to do when we really didn't. And that's what I needed. And so different players need different things, but I don't think I would have been successful if I hadn't had such a great leader and trainer and coach like you. That's and awesome. The other coaches at Minnesota. It's not just Hugh, it's Matt, it's Laura, it's our strength trainer, Coach Y, our athletic trainer, Ronnie, all of them put the puzzle together.
That's great. Okay, next question comes from Laila. She's one of middles on one of our team, and she's wondering if you have any advice for a middle who's shorter that's trying to play at the collegiate level.
Yeah, middle is... it's a blue collar position. So first off, way to be a middle. I love when people are eager to be middles because it's not always the most glamorous or fun position. But it's blue collar, so you have to work your tail off. Even if there's other girls that are maybe more taller or more talented or gifted, can jump higher, it doesn't really matter, because when you're a middle, the best skill you can have is to be able to read the game. So as you go up, each level you go up, it gets faster. The setters get more talented. There's more things that you have to read and be more disciplined on. So I would just say, if you're a little undersized, under-talented, whatever it may be, you can still be a successful middle if you're very disciplined with your eye work. And it'll definitely take patience. It's not like you're just going to go out on the court and have great eyes and be able to see where the setter's going and be a step ahead. But practicing it every day will definitely get you in the right direction.
Awesome. And following up on that, one of my middles from my 14th team wants to know if you could give her a few tips. Her name is Johanna, and she's wondering if you could give her a few tips on how to increase her availability as a middle, since, you know, outsides are getting a lot of the sets. That's one thing she's been working on this season, if you have any insight in that.
Yeah, so obviously as a middle, it's tough because when you're in system, it's great. You're a high efficiency hitter. They get you the ball a lot, but as soon as things start getting a little out of hand, we're out of system more, it's hard for the middles to get the ball. So I would say, in terms of your timing, spacing, and availability, just to be as consistent as possible. And so really think about the timing of your step close. So when those last 2 feet hit the ground, where does the setter have the ball? So you and your setter or setters can build a relationship, and they can always know that Johanna's on this step when I'm setting her the ball. So I can always give it to her, and I know that she's going to be on that step. So I don't know what tempo you guys run it at, but whatever tempo that is, just be consistent. And sometimes the setters are going to air high, they're going to air slow, they're going to air low, but as long as you are on the same on your same step, same tempo, time and time again, eventually you're going to build this trust and relationship, and they're going to be able to find you more. So then once they're pulled off the net, they know that you're still going to be on that step, and they can get you the ball in more difficult situations. So I would just say, make sure you're consistent. It's easy to be like, oh, that one was high. No, don't worry about it. Like, good set, I'll wait, or I'll try and jump higher. That's a little ridiculous, just because then they're trying to find you, you're trying to find them, and it's just this back and forth yo-yo, and you never quite get it. So just be consistent, and after you spend some time together, you'll find a rhythm.
Perfect. That's a great answer, especially for I agree with you. I hear a lot of the time the middles, like you just said, like, I'll be there earlier or whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to find that connection. You
get set a lot less frequently than the other players. So you want to make sure they know, like, oh, great, great set. It's not you, it's probably me. But I'd say that actually would hurt you in the long run. Make sure you praise them when they give you a good set, but make sure that you're the one that's consistent, and you're not just trying to make it work and they're trying to make it work for you, and you can never quite meet.
Awesome. That's great advice. This next question comes from another one of my players. She's one of my setters, Olivia, and she was wondering if you could go back and give your younger self advice, what would that be?
I would say celebrate the small victories. I know I was really hard on myself growing up. I would always not think that I was good enough, that compare myself a lot to other girls my same age that are doing things so much better than I am. But then I would improve and I wouldn't really celebrate those improvements because I felt like I was always kind of behind, or, you know, someone always kind of had that edge on me. So I would say to throw comparison out the window a little bit. Obviously, comparison can be good because it can make you, you know, strive for something, but too much of it can definitely be harmful. So make sure you're not comparing yourself to other people and where they're at, but try and compare yourself more to where you were before, and think about how much you've overcome to get to where you are, how much better you are at the little things, and celebrate those small victories instead of just trying to set a new goal and reach that new goal. Don't forget to celebrate that one that you had just achieved.
Awesome. I'm sure you comparison is always tough, especially when you're a twin.
Oh,
I have twin
definitely.
sisters, and for a while they both played the same sport, and they were always compared. And
Exactly.
you're always fighting that battle for sure.
Yeah, especially at the same position. It's great because it always pushes you, but also you never really get some room to breathe and just be okay with where you're at. So,
Right. All right. So, how do you stay motivated with training during your off season? Not specifically like being in quarantine, but like in your off season in college, club. Obviously, for us in Michigan, our off season is high school
yep.
because our club is usually our stronger training season. So, how do you stay motivated during that time, and how do you work on increasing your vertical?
Yeah, so staying motivated is just knowing uh, the things that you want to accomplish. And it's also knowing yourself and what you need. So in the off season, I think it's equally important to train really hard, but also give yourself rest and know what you need. I think it's easy to burn the candle at both ends, in season and off season. And you, as an athlete, you can feel guilty for taking too much rest or being like, oh, I got, you know, seconds or ate too much dessert at Christmas, things like that. And I'd say don't sweat that small stuff, because you also need to be good to yourself. You need to rest. And then you can train a lot harder when you need to. Obviously, you need to train hard at some point, and a lot of that is in the off season, building up to the regular season, but finding a balance is also really important. So I would say this time in quarantine right now, you shouldn't be uh, killing yourself to be the best, you know, like I need to come out of quarantine as fast as I've ever been, as strong as I've ever been. But you also have to, you want to come out of quarantine being really excited to play. If you've overworked yourself, you may not be as excited to get with your friends and play, pick up, I don't know, go to the beach, play beach volleyball, get with your team and be really competitive. So make sure you don't wear yourself down too much, and it's okay to take a step back and relax. And then when the time's right, to push really hard.
Awesome. You mentioned in there in that answer um, about like feeling bad having seconds or eating dessert.
Yeah.
And it kind of got my mind going on right now. I was asked by a college coach on a call the other day what I felt was the biggest difference. I've been coaching 14 for 12 years now. So what's the biggest difference in your 14s now and back, you know, when you first started? And I would have to say that the biggest problem right now I see is body image and how
Yeah.
people are portrayed in social media. And you had commented earlier about how you were a string bean and then going into Minnesota had to put on muscle. Can
Yeah.
you touch base with how you feel like that is important?
Absolutely. So I've been thinking about that a lot because I've been scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, whatever the kids use these days. But I've been just scrolling through because we've had a lot of downtime, and I've been seeing a lot of um, fitness, I guess, influencers. And I think it's great that they're showing ways to stay fit in quarantine and maybe their meals and things. But I think it's equally important to be realistic. These people that are fitness influencers are working out primarily for the aesthetic of it. and eating also for the aesthetic of it. And I think it's important to know that a professional athlete does not look like that and would not look like that if they want to perform at their best. So when you gain muscle, you also have to gain a little bit of fat. It's pretty much impossible to gain solely muscle. And so I think, especially when you're younger, you see these models and fitness influencers, and you're like, oh, I'm a high level athlete, or aspire to be a high level athlete. I should look like that. And I think that's also very false, that you don't need to look like that to perform your best. In fact, if you looked like that, you probably would not perform your best. And you need to be strong, but you need to be healthy. You need to eat probably more than you think you do, especially what these influencers are saying that you should be eating. 15,000 calories or 1,500 calories a day is not enough for an athlete to excel and perform off of. And if you eat more than that and you're in quarantine, it is okay. It's actually better than if you eat only that or less. So that was kind of bothering me, this image of what you think someone that's an elite athlete should look like versus what someone that in your sport actually does look like, exceeding at the top level.
Awesome. Well, that's a great answer. I think that's really important for these younger athletes to hear that from someone who's playing at a level that they eventually want to be at. So thank you for that. I love that answer. Okay, this next question comes from one of my favorite middles I've trained. Her name is Kari, and she is also 6'3". And her question is, what are some of the thoughts that go through your head when you are at the net?
My thoughts that go through my head when I'm at the net. So I'm someone that gets very easily distracted, and I need to, at the net, really focus in on what do I need to do this play to win the next point. And so as a middle, I'm thinking, where's my hitter? What route are they taking? And then who's the biggest threat? And so if my middle, say the middle that on the team we're playing doesn't get set often, then I'm just going to stay put in the middle of the court. As soon as the ball gets passed, I'm going to look at the setter, try and read if the setter is setting forward, a quick, if she raises her hands usually, or if she arches or leans or sets it in the, like right at the top of her head, then she's probably going back or D or big. And so what I'm thinking is just going through that process and trying to be a step ahead, especially as I've gotten older. The game has sped up exponentially. So even playing in Japan last year, it was so incredibly fast. It was ridiculous. And so I couldn't think of anything else besides where's my hitter, who's most likely going to hit it, and where is she going to hit it so I can try and block it.
Awesome. Kari just commented she's 6'4". I got that one wrong.
She's taller than me.
Yeah, she's one of our middles on our 16s team.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so this question comes from one of my former liberos, Livy Setla, and she wants to know, what's your biggest motivation?
My biggest motivation would have to be just my younger self and what I thought I could never achieve, and like where I'm going now, because I've had big dreams, and when I was younger, I wanted to be an Olympian, wanted to be on the national team. I wanted to do these things, but I really didn't see how I could ever achieve those things. And so just knowing that and knowing what I've achieved, I am motivated by her and just showing her what I can become.
Well, and you're right there at that goal. So let's move on to that and talk about you've got a year extra now to train, is the way I'm looking at it. Like, yeah, wait a year, but really you have a year extra to train and try and make that 12-man roster. What would that mean to you to be able to wear that uniform in the Olympics next summer?
Yeah, that would just be amazing, and not just to wear the uniform, but to win it, because that's the goal. And that would mean everything. As a competitor, you want to compete at the highest level, and the Olympic Games is the highest level. It doesn't get higher than that. Everyone brings their best roster and plays their best team in order to try and get that gold. And so it would definitely mean everything to me, everything I've ever worked for. And so be awesome.
All right. So the next question comes from one of our club directors, Jen. She just wants to know, what would you say is the hardest skill to transition from club to college for you personally?
For me, it was eye work. Just having that discipline. Also, I think that comes with maturity and just your volleyball IQ. But the game picks up, and you always feel like you're a step behind every level that you increase. And so when I got to college, I remember thinking how fast the game was. It seemed incredibly fast, or I had just gotten very slow. And so the hardest thing was taking the discipline to actually read the game. Before, I felt like I saw what was going on, but I wasn't reading it to be a step ahead. And so that transition was definitely the biggest. And then I had to relearn every single skill. So as hard as that was, it was most difficult to be disciplined with my eyes.
All right. Speaking of college, Minnesota, was it always Minnesota? We know that you're from Minnesota. Talk to us just a little about your recruiting process and your decision making there.
Yeah, I think it was always Minnesota. So since my sister and we didn't play club, we went to a camp up in the University of Minnesota Duluth when we were sophomores in high school. And when we were there, the coach sat Paige and I down, and it wasn't a recruiting visit by any means. We just went to a camp, and he offered us a scholarship, and I was very confused, to say the least. I was like, what? My parents came to pick us up from the camp, and we ended up in the coach's office and offered a scholarship. And I didn't understand it. And so on the ride home, we were all silent and just thinking, what just happened? And so I thought I would probably go. I didn't think I would get offered anywhere else. So we thought, we'll probably go to this Division II school. It was really good Division II school in Minnesota. And then later that summer, we went to the University of Minnesota team camp. And at the team camp, one of the coaches, Elfie Ref, he pulled us aside, and he had Paige and I hit slides off their setter at the time. And I thought that was really strange. And then they asked if we wanted to come on a visit, and I thought that was even stranger. And I was like, they must have saw a really good day, because, like, you know, I kind of felt like a poser. I was like, I don't belong anywhere on a recruiting visit at the University of Minnesota. And then a few weeks later, they called and offered us, and I was like, yes, of course. There's no question. So we didn't go on any visits to any other Big Ten schools. I didn't want to, because we're really close with our family. Our family came to every single game. Just having that was super special in and of itself. So, and Minnesota is the only D1 school in Minnesota, so you grow up and it's like the Golden Gophers. Yep. So that's where we wanted to go, and that's where we ended up, and it served us well. So awesome.
Well, so you've done a lot of this with your sister. We have handfuls of siblings in our club. We have a couple sets of twins. We have some older, some younger, a lot that are within 3-4 years age. So the ability to play together is something that a lot of these girls have that chance. So tell us what it's like playing with your sister.
It's amazing. I mean, you always have that person on the court that you really trust. And it's kind of a rare bond where you can speak directly and honestly, especially growing up. That doesn't happen with other girls, because you think it's maybe coming from a malicious place that you can't really tell them. But Paige and I could always kind of direct each other and tell each other, snap out of it or do this better. But then we were also there to be each other's biggest cheerleaders. So I am very thankful to have had her, although it was difficult to always be so competitive and always fight to be better than the other. It made me the volleyball player I am today and the athlete I am today. So I'm incredibly thankful for it.
Awesome. All right. So this question actually comes from my brother-in-law, and it's along the sisters line. He wants to know if you guys ever pretended to be each other growing up.
We didn't, because we were too competitive. So, like, we could have switched for, say, a test or something, but
Right.
we would always compare who got the higher score, so it just would have been pointless. So we never shared homework. We never did anything that would have been advantageous and made life easier, because we were too competitive. And looking back, I was like, why, that was really dumb, but that's
I
just who
love
we
it.
were. Yeah.
All right. So, what's your favorite volleyball memory? I know you have a lot. You've a lot of experiences that many of our athletes strive to eventually do or see. But if you had to pick one of your favorite volleyball memories, what would that be?
My favorite volleyball memory would be my junior year of college, when we made it to the Final Four after not the previous year. We did not make the tournament, which was the first time in a long time that Minnesota had made the tournament. And we worked our butts off all spring and got ran like crazy. And it was definitely had to put in the hard work in order to reap the benefit. And that's like the biggest learning moment. What I thought was hard work was not nearly enough hard work that would get me to where I wanted to go, going from sophomore to junior year. But we made it, and we did it. We put the work in, and we made the Final Four, and it was amazing to achieve something like that alongside girls that you had put in the work with.
Awesome. All right. Our 18s want to know about your sponsors.
Okay.
Who are you sponsored by? And they're kind of curious, like, how does that even work? How does that happen? How do you get sponsored?
Yeah, so I'm sponsored by Adidas, which is probably my biggest sponsor. And after college, because in college, I don't know, they might have changed the rule, but when I was in college, you couldn't be sponsored by anybody. Not saying I would have been, but when I got out of college, I was just messaged by Adidas. One of my friends worked for them and was running the volleyball category, and she asked if I wanted to be sponsored by Adidas, and I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So I've had that sponsorship for 3 years now, and I just extended it into 2021. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's really cool. I guess that was kind of learning, like, how do you be sponsored, like, what do you act like, and it's just, you rep the gear, and that's what they want you to do. And when you're seen publicly, they want you to be in their stuff. And so obviously I like Adidas clothing, and I like their shoes, and so that was easy for me to make sure I was always repping their stuff. And then also I'm sponsored by Toyota Southern California, and I have an awesome car. It's a Toyota RAV4 Adventure, and it's really fun to drive and really fun to have in California. And so that's another one. And I just post pictures with the car, and it's easy peasy, and I get this great car. So those are my only two, and I've done different ones for like a couple protein powders, but those are more just one time post. You post, then you get paid, and so
Right.
easy peasy.
Awesome. Yeah, we just became an Adidas Club this year.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, it's exciting. It's kind of a bummer because our season got cut short, and
Yeah.
certain Adidas tournaments, if your team wins them, you get shoes.
Yeah.
And we have a handful of the top teams in the country right now, and they got cut off from that. So
Dang.
it's like we had a couple teams win shoes at the last few tournaments that we were at, and then now all the big qualifiers are going on, and we're unable to play. But yeah,
are those just postponed, or is it like postponed indefinitely? Or are they for sure?
There are certain ones that are postponed. There are certain ones that have canceled. They've all kind of tried to move towards the end of May, because technically USAV right now is on halt until the end of this month.
Okay.
But they've moved it a few times, so we're just kind of still waiting each day to hear how we're going to move forward. But yeah, we do have a couple of qualifiers that have not canceled yet that are either end of May and Memorial Day weekend. So
okay,
our fingers are crossed that the season is not over yet. We've got a lot of unfinished business, especially our 18s team. They are one of the top 18s team in the country. They've qualified multiple times already this year. So we're hoping they get a chance at a national championship.
Yeah.
All right. So outside of volleyball, What's your plan after volleyball's over?
I'm not sure right now. I want to play for a couple more years at least because I still feel like I'm getting better. As soon as I feel like I'm not getting better anymore, I think it's time to call it because that's what really gets me to lace up my shoes and on the court. But I'm getting my MBA online right now. I graduated my undergrad in business, and so I'd like to do something. I'd love to start my own business. I love consumer products and things like that, but I haven't found anything that really inspires me to start at the moment or while I'm still playing. And so I think in the next couple of years I'll try and figure that out and do that once I'm done. I don't think I want to coach, unfortunately.
That's all right. Not everybody is meant to be a coach, but
I like to be involved. I definitely still want to give back. I feel like the sport's given me so much. I have a duty to give back, and so still kind of figuring that out.
Well, what you're doing right now is huge giving back. I'll tell you, a lot of our players were super excited when they heard that you said that you would do this interview. So I know you're an inspiration to a lot of our girls. So just this right here is huge. My last question outside of volleyball are what hobbies do you have that aren't related to sports?
I need more hobbies. I learned that during quarantine that I don't have a ton of hobbies. But I like to go out, be outside. So I like to hike. We have a cabin that my favorite thing to do is just hike around. I love to hang out with friends and go to the beach and go swimming. And so I'd say outdoors are mainly my hobbies. I always like the idea of reading, but I don't like to sit down and read a book. So yeah.
That's all right. That's not for everybody either. All right. So all of these interviews I've been ending with a lightning round where we play this or that, and I give them two options and the answer. And I decided to change it up with you. These all are provided by my 14s team. And so we're going to play a game of Hannah or Paige.
Awesome.
So each question, your answer will just be me or Paige. Those will be your answers, and we'll go through them nice and fast. Even if you don't like the answer. Oh, I lost you. Oh, 1 second. I'm pulling Hannah back.
Sorry, I think it timed out. Okay, I'm back.
Oh, good. All right. So, you or Paige takes longer to get ready?
Me.
Spends more time or more money on unnecessary things?
Me.
Has better style?
Me.
Has better taste in music?
Me.
Funnier?
Me.
Smarter?
Paige.
Better cook?
Neither.
Messier?
Best what?
Messier?
Me.
More artistic?
Paige.
Better dancer?
Me.
Better singer?
Paige.
Better driver?
Me.
You got to say that for your F4.
Yeah.
Got in trouble more when you were younger?
Me.
All right. Well, that's all that I have for you.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming on live with us. We really appreciate it. I know all of the girls were really excited about this, and it's a great opportunity for them. And we really hope to see you playing in the Olympics next summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good luck to all you girls out there, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.